Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
AI is incredible. It can teach you how to fry an egg and even write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows nothing about your work. Slackbot is different. It doesn't just know the facts. It knows your schedule. It can turn a brainstorm into a brief. And it doesn't need to be taught. Because Slackbot isn't just another AI. It's AI that knows your work as well as you do. Visit slack.com/meet Slackbot to learn more.
The More Money Show with Steve Moore on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back, folks. This is the More Money Show. Thanks so much for joining. I am now privileged to have on the line a dear friend and one of the great economists in the country. Of course, I'm talking about Arthur B. Laffer of Laffer Curve fame. And Arthur, thanks for joining this afternoon.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And you missed Larry. You missed that Larry Kudlow and I were your best men at your wedding.
Oh my God, that was the highlight of my life. I don't think anybody can brag of something like that.
Sorrier for anyone more than we did, and just joking, just joking.
All right, I got
you're a blessed guy.
I got a lot of stuff I want to bring up with you, and so
let's go.
Let's start with this. I'm saying, Arthur, that this is an economy that is firing on all cylinders right now. As I look at just all of the data across the board, it looks so positive. It looks like every arrow is pointing north. What is your assessment?
I think that's very true. I think whether you look at taxes or government spending or monetary policy or regulatory policy, even trade policy, Steve, and peace through strength policy. That's amazing. Every single category of the major kingdoms of macroeconomics are firing all in the right direction, and it's already done in the books. I mean, the big beautiful bill had so much in it that is only now starting to really kick in and take effect. And we got the Fed change coming very shortly, which will be spectacular. And we've got all sorts of other stuff. I mean, look what's happening in the international scene on peace through strength. It's really wonderful, and I haven't felt this good since Reagan. I really haven't, and maybe even feel better than I did when it was Reagan. Although I was pretty giddy back then.
You mentioned peace through strength, and you're certainly seeing that throughout the world. I mean, what's happened in Chile, what's happening in Argentina, what's happened obviously in Venezuela, what's happening hopefully in Iran, maybe a regime change there.
Honduras, you name it, it's happening everywhere. Boom, boom, boom.
So peace is bullish.
Peace is really bullish, Steve. And I can't begin to tell you, Reagan was so good at it, and then we had just losers after losers after losers. I mean, none. And all of a sudden, we've got Reagan back again, and maybe even better than Reagan. I mean, Reagan did some pretty cool stuff with Iran and did some great stuff, Grenada, and some other stuff with Gaddafi and Libya. I mean, he really was good in all of this stuff, and we got the treaties and all that. But Trump is no slouch. Let me tell you, what he's doing is just incredible.
So you visit with him often in the Oval Office. I visit with him occasionally, but he seems to have a kind of innate understanding of how markets work, how business works. I mean, obviously, to be as successful as he is, you have to understand how the world works. What do you attribute to his success?
Yes. Well, let me put it this way. Some of the Federer and some of these great tennis players. I mean, they're phenomenal tennis players, and yet they may not know the physics whatsoever of how to hit a ball and all that, the physics and all that, but they just know how to play. And Donald Trump may not have his PhDs and all that. He's been damn well educated, but he really knows how to play economics and do it really right. He has that, he's been doing it all of his life, and he has that feeling there. He knows how to negotiate. He knows how to tell when things are happening. And he is probably the best practicing politician I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's just amazing how he does it instinctively and makes it fun. Besides, I don't want to be in his bad side ever, but I mean, as an observer, I just think he's a riot.
So, one of the things we said on our Unleash Prosperity hotline the other day was, that we'd like, we called it let her rip, and we just said, you've set the table so amazingly with, by the way, you left out 100 deregulations for every new regulation. That's an amazing statistic.
Yeah, I read your piece, Stephen. It's incredible on that. Let her rip. It's just great. I would put one thing in though, if I may, on that piece. It's a damn good piece, and the economics is good, all of that. But remember, we're only advisors, and when we look at this, we look at the economics, and what you say on the economics is generally just dead on. But there's a lot of other considerations Trump has to take into account.
Yep.
And that's the only thing I'd caution you on. Is that Trump has so much more to put into the calculation of what he's going to do than just the economics, and so therefore I restrain myself from judging because basically
I knew you would say that, and you know that
I know you do,
and then I think you're exactly right. So the other point I wanted to make to you is with respect to trade, because you and I sometimes get hit on the head by some
we sure do
free trade friends, and look, I'm a free trader. You taught me free trade. I think your area of expertise when you got your PhD was trade, right?
It is. Trade is my specialty. It's the best field of economics, by the way.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So explain yourself when someone like our friend Mark Skousen says, "Oh, you and Laffer are selling out. You're losing your free trade principles." What do you say to? And then look, we like these people, but sometimes they bash us. And how do you respond to that?
Well, that's okay, and you understand where they're coming from, and we appreciate their comments. We really do. I mean, I don't wish they weren't making personal, but when you look at trade again with regard to Trump, let's put it.
Yes.
I mean, trade is a set of tools, and everyone understands the Ricardian gains from trade, the Alexander gains from trade. They know what happened with the Smoot-Hawley tariff, with the Kennedy and the Reagan trade barrier cuttings, and how prosperity fall. All of us understand that, but trade is, again, much more. It is something that Trump can use in negotiations. He can't use domestic tax policy in negotiations. He can't use Fed policy or regulatory policies. The only tool available to him to negotiate with other countries is using trade things. And he uses those trade barriers and non-tariff barriers, quotas, and all that stuff amazingly well to get secure peace and 4 peace treaties in Africa, Pakistan, Afghanistan. He's done it there. He's using it extremely well with regard to Russia and Ukraine. I mean, that's a real tough one to do. I mean, so he uses these and not only as economic tools, but also as negotiation tools. And so far, he has not wandered far from the free trade model. I think that most of the stuff he's doing is negotiating far better trade deals for the U.S., and for them, by the way. They don't even know how bad their trade policies are, these other countries. So I fully support using the tariffs, quotas, non-tariff barriers, and all the other stuff he does, as long as it's done by Trump, who understands the objectives and understands the issues. Yeah. Now, the next president, no matter who it is, I want it taken away, that authority taken away from the next president. But I want Trump to have it fully until his last day in office.
Well, what you just said was a long version of the art of the deal, and nobody understands the art of the deal better than he does. So let's turn to the tax bill. What are the 2 or 3 things that are most important in that tax bill that have caused such a burst of growth and output?
Well, I think the making it permanent, the personal income tax. Now, the corporate one was permanent, but 100% expensing, the death tax is huge deal, and they got that permanent as well. They've got all this other stuff there. The personal goes from 39.6 to 37, but then there's the tax on overtime.
Yeah.
And that's really emerging. And the way I put it is when you get a catastrophe like the fires in California, like the train spilling over in Palestine, Ohio, or like the 9/11 or that's
right.
when you want everyone to work as much as they can. That's not a time to increase tax rates on those people who are sacrificing their lives to save the U.S. And that's where I view the tax on overtime as making so much sense. These people are willing to go the extra mile to do the extra stuff, and that's not the time we should take to just beat them on the head with higher tax rates. It's just wrong.
Yeah, and then what do you think about no tax on tips?
I think no tax on tips is great from a practical standpoint. I mean, why on earth would you spend $1 billion trying to collect $1 million? It's just stupid. It's just stupid.
Right.
And why would you want to make these people, as long as you're not going to collect the money, why make them feel guilty and horrible and all this negative stuff? Just get rid of the tax on tips and do without. That's a practical solution to a very impractical policy of trying to collect revenues from those people.
So I'm talking to Arthur Laffer, the legendary economist. Arthur, last question in our last 2 minutes, and thanks so much for joining this afternoon.
My pleasure, Steve. You know you're my favorite.
You have advised a lot of governments in the past, including in Chile and other places. Now we've got a recovery job in Venezuela. Trump has liberated 30 million people without losing a single American life, one of the great military maneuvers in history. So what would be your advice to Trump and the Venezuelan people at this point and the new government? What do they do?
Well, make sure he sets up the process of government well. You know, I was very close with Cheney and Rumsfeld when we did Iraq, and what they did was they prohibited any one of Saddam Hussein's party members not to be allowed to enter government ever again, which precluded about 90% of the population because there was only one party in the country, and that lost a lot of talent. I think we need to take all the talent we can in Venezuela, marshal that talent, get local people to run things, and really do a transformation, much like the way we did in Germany or in Japan after World War II. I think we need to do that. We need to be supportive of them fully and totally. You know, we need to give them low-rate, broad-based, flat taxes, spending restraints, sound money, bring back prosperity to that country as fast as we possibly can, to win over the hearts and minds of all the people. And there's no reason we can't do that in a year and a half, 2 years, and just have a blasting Chile. Huh? Yeah, it happened in Chile. Now, this time around in Chile, the communist government lasts only 4 years. But when we came in after Allende, and I was down there the whole time then with all my Chicago boys there and all that period, we came in after a long period of really bad governments in Chile. And it took us a long time to create the economic miracle. And this time it shouldn't take us very long at all. I mean, this new president of Chile is phenomenal. And Honduras, people don't look at what's happening in Honduras. Even though the two top parties were 39 and 40% separately, the ruling Communist Party was only 17 or 19%. Incredible. I mean, we swept the board in that country, in El Salvador, everywhere. It's just so cool, Steve.
Yeah. Well, Arthur, freedom is breaking out all over, and so is free enterprise. And I love your bullishness because I agree with you. I think, what's your number for GDP growth for 2000?
Oh, I have no idea, Steve. You and Larry are 10 times better than I am at that.
Okay. Well, Arthur Laffer, thanks for joining. Have a great weekend. That is the great economist Arthur Laffer. This is the More Money Show, and we will be right back.
Thanks for listening to More Money with Steve Moore. You can hear More Money with Steve Moore Saturday afternoons at 1. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.